What's up, Ranger Nation? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here today with the review for Power Rangers Beast Morphers. This is episode number 4, and this episode was titled Digital Deception. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so it's Valentine's Day in Coral Harbor, and we're at Grid Battle Force. We see Ben and Betty. Ben and Betty are walking through the halls of Grid Battle Force with Valentine's Day gifts. The Valentine's Day gifts are for the Rangers that are sent to them by their secret admirers. So, when they're walking through the halls, there's a bee that, lands on one of the flowers that Betty has. And Ben sees the bee and he's like, how did a bee get in here? This is a sterile place. How did a bee get into this facility? So we see Ben and Betty. They are, frantically trying to get the bee out, but they're causing chaos and they're causing mayhem, in the melee. So then we see Ravi. He is with the real Roxy, who is asleep in the tube. And he's just talking to her. He's remembering them having Valentine's Day a year ago and how it's just not the same without her there to be, celebrating it with him this year. And we also do remember that Ravi did break up with, Roxy at the point where they were getting ready to become Power Rangers. So, he just misses the real the real Roxy. So we're kind of going to move on because it's going to tie in. This is going to tie in just a minute. All right. So now we move over to the cyber dimension. In the cyber dimension, we see the avatar Roxy. She has a cyber flower in her hand, and she still has the real Roxy's human memories, but she's just missing the emotions. She doesn't feel what the real Roxy feels for, Ravi or anything in the real Roxy's life. And, here's something that's really interesting. So we have saw the parents of Devin, Ravi, and Zoe. And, Zoe and Devin's parents don't know that they're Power Rangers. Commander Shaw does know that Ravi's a Power Ranger. I wonder, what does Blaze and Roxy's parents think about them? Like, have they not saw their kids? Do their kids not come home? Like, I really wonder, what do their parents think? Like, oh, there's off on some adventure and, we don't know where they are. Interesting. Avatar Roxy, she has an idea. Scrozzle doesn't want to hear the idea, but Evox says, let her talk. Let her, tell me what her idea is. So what Roxy's idea is, she wants to use the emotions that Ravi has for the real Roxy and play that against him. So that way, she can complete what Evox tried to do before in the first episode when we got Cyber Blaze and Cyber Roxy. So now they want a Cyber Ravi, and we're going to see that Cyber Avatar Roxy is going to try to play on his emotions to, let his guard down, trust her, and then boom, land the shot of trying to turn him into an avatar. All right, so then we see in our dimension, we see Roxy. She appears and she has one of those computers with the Evox virus and the Morphex, and she inserts one of the keys into the computer, and then she inserts into this which I don't know why they call that monster Shoveltron, because it really technically wasn't a shovel. That was, I don't even know what you call those things, what you see on construction sites where they're digging up the dirt and everything. I don't know exactly what you call them. I can't think of it right now. It's too early in the morning. But, she creates Shoveltron, and, Shoveltron, he starts blasting in the city and blasting the people. Now, we also did see that, Nate was in the city, and Nate was buying flowers because, once again, it's Valentine's Day and everybody in Coral Harbor is celebrating Valentine's Day. So, once Nate gets blasted, he calls for backup. He calls Grid Battle Force and he calls for backup. So then we see the Rangers there at the gym, and Devin has some cookies and he's offering his cookies to Zoe, and he's offering them to Ravi. Zoe's like, nope, I prefer my carrots. And I'm like, oh, okay, keep that energy up, girl. You go ahead, you go and keep that energy up. And Ravi is just now, in the celebrating the Valentine's Day mood because his love, Roxy, is asleep, so he's not feeling it. So then they get a call from Commander Shaw telling them that Shoveltron is in the city. So then the Rangers rush into action, and they materialize their blasters, and they start fighting. So Zoe and Devin, they take on the Tronics because Shoveltron, when the Rangers came, he called on the Tronics. So Ravi and, like I said, Devin and Zoe take on the Tronics, and then Ravi, he fights with Shoveltron. So Ravi, he's fighting with Shoveltron. He's flipping backwards because Shoveltron is blasting at him. So then Shoveltron, like I said, Shoveltron is blasting, but then Roxy, Cyber Avatar Roxy, she's hidden in the corner, and she takes some of the gardening supplies and she throws them behind him, and as he's flipping, he flips backwards and he trips. So then, that leaves him in Shoveltron's wake for him to blast him. So before Shoveltron can blast Ravi, Roxy steps in and is like, no, don't touch him. And, Ravi is like, oh no, she protected me. And I'm like, oh no, Ravi, don't buy that. That's the oldest trick in the book. Like, she's playing on your human emotions for your very human girlfriend, and she's a cyber avatar version of your girlfriend. Like, please don't fall for that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so she steps in and she leaves, and like I said before, I was like, please don't fall for that. That it literally is like the oldest trick in the book. Like, we saw that in so many seasons of Power Rangers, where one of the guys falls for a girl, and the girl ends up tricking him. We saw it in Power Rangers Time Force with Contemptra, where she tricked Wes, Trip, and Lucas. We saw that episode. I'm trying to think of another episode where the Rangers were tricked. A Ranger was tricked by a girl. I can't think right now, so I'm just gonna kind of move on past it. But you get the gist of it. All right, so the Rangers are back at Grid Battle Force, and they're talking to Commander Shaw. Commander Shaw's kind of wondering, like, what was that monster doing there? Like, he wasn't trying to steal Morphex energy, so what is his purpose? And then she's like, Nate, what were you doing out of the Grid Battle Force? And Nate couldn't really come up with anything about why he was out of Grid Battle Force. So she says, you know what? Next time you leave, you're leaving in the buddy system because you're too important to this operation, and we can't let anything happen to you because you almost got hurt in the melee of it. So absolutely not. The next time you want to leave headquarters, you're leaving with someone else. And I'm like, as long as he doesn't leave with Ben and Betty, I think he'll be safe. No, I think he'll be safe with Ben and Betty, because Ben and Betty, they stepped in when Devin froze up with the dog. Still makes no sense to me. But, so I think Ben and Betty would be good. So, then once Commander Shaw leaves, Ravi, he's talking to, Nate, and he's talking to Devin and Zoe about, Cyber Roxy. And he's wondering, is there a possibility that, the real Roxy is still in there somewhere? And Nate is like, well, I mean, there is a small chance that there could be, but, I'm not really sure. So then he leaves, and then that leaves, Nate, Devin, and Zoe there. And Devin is like, but didn't he break up with her? And, Nate says, yes, he did break up with her, but not for the reasons that you might think. The reason that he actually broke up with her is because of the rule in the Ranger handbook that Rangers can't date one another. And I'm like, whoo, thank God that one around when, Kimberly and Tommy were, involved with each other, Tommy and Catherine, Andros and Ashley, Kendricks and Leo, even though that never really happened, but you could kind of see it. Carter and Dana, they had a little something going on, Wes and Jen, who else can I name? Blake and Tori. Even in Wild Force, you kind of saw a little bit of something between Cole and Alyssa. We can keep going. Who was it? Dino Thunder, nobody. SPD, I don't remember. Mystic Force, Maddie and Nick. Again, the list can go on. So, luckily enough, those Rangers didn't have to deal with that stuff. But, our Grid Battle Force, Beast Morphers Rangers, they do have to deal with that. And, they just, at the end of it, Ravi is just a stickler for following the rules. And, that was the real reason that he broke up with Roxy in the first place. All right, so next we see Ravi. He's in the same place that he and the real Roxy celebrated Valentine's Day a year prior. And then we see Cyber Roxy. She finds him, And she's telling him Happy Valentine's Day, and she's just playing on again his human emotions for the real Roxy. So she says, he asked her, is she still, is the real Roxy still somewhere inside of her? And she's like, yeah, from time to time I try to fight off the effects of the Evox virus. And then she tells him, I need your help. And he says, my help? What kind of help do you need from me? She says, I need something from Nate's office, and it's called the Neuroaligner. And she thinks that by getting the Neuroaligner that it will help her to, I don't know if it will help her completely get rid of the Evox virus. So, Ravi's like, okay, I got you. I'm going to do what I can to help you. So then we see Ravi, he's back at Real Battle Force, and he's, talking to Nate to see if, he thinks that the Neuroaligner can turn the Avatar back good. And Nate is like, well, I'm not quite sure if that'll work. And even if I were able, even if I could do that, I would have to, have data. I would have to do research, and that can take months to even, determine if that's actually, feasible. But, Ravi, he ends up taking the Neuroaligner, and he leaves Grid Battle Force. So then we see Devin and we see Zoe come in, and they're asking, where's Ravi at? Because he was supposed to meet us today at the gym, but he never showed up. And, Nate is like, well, that's, they're like, that's not like him. He's, always punctual and on time. So, Nate tells them what he was talking to Ravi about, about how he wonders if the Neuroaligner can turn, the avatars back good. And then Nate looks over and he's like, oh no, it's gone. And they figure out that, he took it. And they're like, where did he go to? Oops, excuse me. And then Zoe figures it out, I wonder if he went to the place where he actually, first met Roxy, and, they celebrated their first Valentine's Day. So Ravi, he does go back to meet this Avatar Roxy, and this is where he finds out that she in fact tricked him, because she takes the Neuroaligner, she has one of the computers, and she hooks it into the computer, and then the monster comes out, and it strongholds Ravi. And she's like, I'm going to turn you into an avatar. And he's like, what? You tricked me. Yeah, she did trick you, buddy. Sorry. All right. So now we have Avatar Roxy. She's trying to infect Ravi with the, Evox virus. I was about to say the Ventrix virus, the Evox virus. So she puts, the Neuroaligner over his head, and it's starting to, try to form so that the Evox virus can be implanted into him. But before it can do that, Zoe and Devin, they come in and they blast, and they save him from being turned into the, a cyber version, avatar version of himself. So then, Roxy, she's talking to Scrozzle, and Scrozzle's like, I need the Neuroaligner, bring it to me. So Roxy, she gets the Neuroaligner, and she leaves, leaving Shoveltron to fight the Rangers. So he calls in for some tronics once again, and then the Rangers morph into action, and they start to fight with him. So then we see Scrozzle. Scrozzle sends in a Giga Drone, and so we have the Giga Drone in the big Giga Drone, and we have Shoveltron on the ground. So we have two monsters in the same scene. Commander Shaw calls Devin and tells him that she is sending crews to help him. So we see him. He gets in a race resort, and he is fighting with the Giga Drone. And then we had we got Ravi and Zoe on the ground fighting with Shoveltron. So, with this, I am actually loving the fact that we have not had a Zord configuration yet. I'm loving that we get the individual fight scenes with the Zords. We're seeing what the Zords are really capable of and what the Zords can do. And it makes, us fans, I know it makes me excited about the toys that are coming out for the Zords. So I'm loving seeing how the Zords interact, just solo. It's really cool. So then we see Devin, he uses his cheetah mode, and his cheetah mode is really, really, really fast. And then we see Zoe and Ravi, and they're still on the ground. They're fighting Shovel Drone. And, Zoe, she has an idea about how to defeat him. So then we see, they're fighting Shovel Drone, and, Devin is in his Zord fighting the Giga Drone, and they both end up defeating, both Shovel Tron and the Giga Drone, and the virus has been eliminated. Okay, so then we move back over to the cyber dimension. In the cyber dimension, Scrozzle, he still has the neural aligner in his hand, and he's talking to Evox because he has an idea about how to, get Evox out of the cyber dimension, but he just needs some help. And we see Blaze and Roxy, they are over, they're eavesdropping and listening to the conversation, and they're just wondering what Scrozzle has planned. And, they're kind of worried at this point. And Evox is like telling Scrozzle, whatever you need, go out there and get it, so that way I can get out of this dimension and, go to the I don't know. They haven't really said what kind of dimension the Rangers are in. So I don't know if it's a 3D dimension, a human dimension, what dimension, but, we're trying to get Evox from the cyber dimension to our dimension, I guess you would say. I'm actually really liking the fact that we're talking about dimensions, because for a long time we never even mentioned dimensions until Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel with Dimensions in Danger. So I'm actually really, really happy that we are discussing dimensions. It flows so perfectly. Super Mega Force would have been so much better if they had really, really dug in and wrote a great season. They could have discussed dimensions, like how we got the what's that team, the new powers, as the Rangers called them, and the explanation for Jake going from black to green. Like, you just see so many holes in the story for Super Mega Force. And then even with the comic books, we got the Supersonic team. Like, come on. Like, they dropped the ball with Super Mega Force. Super Mega Force could have been so much better than it was, but I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. We're just going to keep it pushing. And lastly, you guys, back at Grid Battle Force, we see Ravi. He's once again with the Royal Roxy, and Zoe and Devin, they come in there, and Ravi apologizes to them, for not listening to them, and they was like, what, don't worry about it, because together we are going to save the Real Roxy by destroying the Avatar Roxy. And then we see them walking through the hallways, and so a young lady walks up to Zoe, and she has flowers for Zoe, and Zoe looks at the flowers and she says they're from a secret admirer. And we see Nate in background, and he's smiling, and I'm like, ah, the flowers are from Nate. Like, that is so cute. I really do like that. So then Commander Shaw's like, oh, she comes up to them and she's like, oh, flowers. Speaking of flowers, we have Ben and Betty in the hangar with your Valentine's Day gifts from your secret admirers. So then we move back over to Ben and Betty, and they are in the hangar, and they have set up a trap for the bee. So then, Betty does, spot the bee, and she has a fly swatter in her hand, and she swats at it and misses it, and it flies around, and she tells Ben, there's the bee. So then Ben tries to go after the bee, and they both land in the trap that they set for the bees. And then the Rangers come in and like, close the door, close the door, close the door. But it was two bees, mind you, and they both escaped. But that was the episode. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and just tell me what you guys think about Beast Morphers so far this episode. Tell me what you guys are, if you guys are excited about the toys, which I really am excited about the toys. I do plan on doing reviews for the toys, but right now, money situation is not the best. But once I do get in a better situation where I can buy the toys, I will buy them and I will be reviewing them. But until tomorrow or Monday for Power Rangers, not Power Rangers, Kishu Ryu, Super Sentai Ryu Soldier, I will see you guys later.